It's a lot of responsibility. But it's been great. It's been a great journey. It's happened so quickly that I haven't really had a chance to really think about it. But it's great. I'm having a great time. I signed with an agent the day before this audition. So this was my first professional audition ever. So it was kind of a Cinderella story. It was so fast. I think it was that this part is it's very much like me. Very much like me. I mean, and it was just easy to deliver those lines and to just, the character has three different levels to her. And I had to read three different scenes that showed her three different sides. And that was strangely easy for me. There's one side where, she's the Queen of Swords, she's a masked avenger, fighting for all things good. And, I do have that side where, I want to make things right. I'm passionate about things. Being Cuban, I'm passionate about communism. And so, I mean, I do have that passionate side where I want to fight for things. And then there's the other side. There's the vulnerable 20-something-year-old who's insecure. And that's also me, I'm 24. So it was very easy. The audition was very easy. And I was so calm. And I didn't even think about it. And days later, I got the call. The third side is she plays a spoiled aristocrat to the public. Basically, that's just to conceal her identity, just so people don't think she's the Queen of Swords, too, because they do look a lot alike. But
Just a little bit. Even with that lace mask, I really had a hard time distinguishing which one was which.
I know. But yeah, that's the other side. And we do that in real life, don't we? We put on different faces. I mean, it's a couple times it's come up, but, is it anything like Zorro? I can't deny that it's somewhat like Zorro in that, I am wearing a mask, I'm using swords. It seems very similar to Zorro, but the show does have its own life. I mean, there's so many elements that are not Zorro-like. And, it's being shot in Spain, in the only desert in Europe, and it just creates such a beautiful backdrop for the show. Aside from that, there's, the whole mystical element involved. The character of Marta is a gypsy who reads tarot cards, and there's also, our extras are real gypsies that dance flamenco and play guitar, and it's absolutely incredible, and it adds so much color to the show. And I would say the most important thing is that these characters, including mine, they're real people. They're real people. Do you know what I mean? And there's a whole realistic element to it, and that makes it different from some of these other fantasy shows. My biggest enemy is the character Montoya. He's a military dictator who's basically making the rich people poorer and the poor ones are starving. And that's my biggest fight with him. But I think what made me the Queen of Swords was my father's death. I'm avenging my father's death. Yeah, I mean, there's some similarities. I mean, everything's been done before, we've heard it all, but, the show does stick out. It has different elements to it that make it special. Well, I think the whole Spanish thing is something that it's very close to home for me. My great-grandparents are Spaniards. So, I mean, our cultures aren't that different. So, just that they're so musical and that they love to dance and that they, that's home for me. That's how it is at home in Miami. Taking this role is a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility because I know I'm going to be a role model. But it's also wonderful because I think finally there's a wonderful part for a Latina woman. And not just for a Latina woman, for a woman. It's a great part to play. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm hoping that it starts a new trend. That's a dream of mine. It always has been. And I thought that being Latina and being a woman were two things that were going against me. And it's quite the contrary in this case. No, I went through rigorous training, and prior to that, I hadn't picked up a sword or rode a horse, or I hadn't done any of that.
You weren't a stunt woman.
I wasn't a stunt woman. I was a student, which is tough, but it doesn't involve a lot of physical work. And so yes, I did have to go through some serious training, and I was prepared for this role when I went out there. The whip.
Really? I would have thought that would have been your first expertise. See, I see. could just see you whooping everybody.
Oh, it's so hard. The whip is the hardest thing to master. It's just that, one day you have it and you're wrapping people and and the next day you get hurt and it comes back and it bites you. So it's a little hard to master. It's about 8 feet, and it breaks the sound barrier. So yeah, so that's where you hear that loud crack. But that crack touches you and it's very painful. Yeah.
So where are the scars?
I'm wearing a suit. I have them all covered up. No, it's not that bad. I haven't gotten hurt yet, which is great. Just a couple bruises. Yeah. Yeah, sabers. Yeah. Yeah, I sure did. But fencing, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of both, and there's this whole Spanish touch to it that Anthony de Longus was my sword master. And his big thing is there's this whole Spanish circle, he calls it the mysterious circle. And the fencing or the fighting becomes more like a dance, which is why it was easier for me because I dance. I dance salsa. So it was just easier for me to see it in that way, to dance with the people I'm fighting with as opposed to beating the crap out of them. I also beat the crap out of them, but... Well, the lucky man. I do have a strange relationship with one of the characters, and that's the character of Dr. Helm, played by Peter Wingfield, and which was also on Highlander. Peter Wingfield was on Highlander. And my relationship with him, it's like a sort of love-hate relationship. He's highly attracted to me, and I'm highly attracted to him, but he can't stand me at the same time. He hates that the queen kills. He admires the reasons, that she's just trying to make things right. He understands that, but he doesn't like it that she kills. And as Tessa, as the spoiled aristocrat, he's annoyed by her, but he's still attracted to her. And it's unclear whether he recognizes, Tessa, or if he knows maybe, or if he suspects that maybe she's the queen. It's unclear, and that's what makes this character interesting. Because he sometimes looks in my eyes and I have to look away, or that kind of thing. But there's an attraction there. Where it will go, only the script. I don't even know that. Well, I think the queen, I think that it isn't just, this is my destiny and I have to fight this guy now. And I think she has fun doing it. And I think that some of these guys are so, obviously she's a woman. She's 5'8". I'm 5'8". And with the heels, I'm a little taller. Obviously she's not physically stronger than some of the men she fights, but she outwits them. She's quick. This is how she gets away. And it's fun to do that. It's fun because some of these men just use, their strength, and they think just by throwing the sword around that they're gonna, and she's just quick. She knows how to get around it. She knows how to, a lot like women do.